I hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July holiday weekend. Some really good news to share this morning. I'm pleased to announce that Hilton Head Island was once again named among the top islands in the U.S. by the readers of Travel and Leisure. So that's a great honor for the island, and also a big congrats to our resort partners. Of the top 15 in South Carolina, 5 of those are from Hilton Head Island and in Bluffton. And let's give a shout out this morning to the Montage Palmetto Bluff, the Westin Resort, Omni Resort, the Beach House, and then the new addition this year is Disney's Hilton Head Island Resort. So we're proud to have 5 of those located right here of the top resorts in South Carolina. Also on the list was the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport. Once again, coming in the top 5 was actually number 4, the number 4 airport in the country to the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport. So a big round of applause and congrats to all those involved. And then yesterday we just had an exciting ribbon cutting at the Sonesta Resort, where Bob Cosgrove, the general manager there, rolled out their 340 rooms and suites that they just recently remodeled, all of those, and they look terrific. And so more positive things happening on the island. Speaking of positive things, we have a great Power Hour lineup today. We'll hear from Hilton Head Island Assistant Town Manager Shawn, Colin, and then also Mary Lee Carns, who's the Vice President for Advancement and Workforce Development at the Technical College of the Lowcountry. And then to wrap things up this morning, it's a real treat and treasure to be able to have island legend Gregg Russell with us. So a great lineup, and we're going to dive right into it right now. Everyone on this morning, I'm sure, is aware of the town of Hilton Head Island. The town council recently voted to enter into a memorandum of agreement with Beaufort County and to grant municipal consent to the South Carolina Department of Transportation for the Highway 278 bridge corridor. That was a discussion that was had for probably around maybe the last 7 years. It was discussed and debated. And so now, I guess the big question is, what's happening next? And here to tell us about that is the Assistant Hilton Head Island Town Manager, Shawn, Colin. Shawn he and his team have done a super job working with SCDOT in Beaufort County and the consultants hired by the town. And there's probably maybe not anyone who knows this project better, and we're glad to have him with us this morning to discuss what's next, when it's going to start, and when it's slated for completion. Shawn, welcome. We know you've got a lot to share today, and appreciate you being with us.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. My pleasure. Hope everyone can hear me all right. And I really appreciate having only a 15-minute slot after 18 and a half hours of meetings in the last couple of weeks on this project. So yeah, Bill, you nailed it. Town council reached a position to grant municipal consent for the project, which allows the project to advance into the next stages. With that municipal consent, the town also defined the project as they would expect it to be built, and shared that memorandum of agreement with Beaufort County for their consideration. So with that, the memorandum of agreement was very specific on 3 main categories that will shape the project from where it is today to the ultimate installation, and that was project design, it was neighborhood improvements, and then economic sustainability to and through the corridor as the project advances. So several provisions within those categories, but they were shared with the county. And as council adopted the resolution to grant municipal consent to the state, they also sent a resolution that included those expectations to the state under a separate resolution adopted by council, which allows the town manager and me and our team to work with the Beaufort County and the state and get to work to make sure that as the project advances, it meets those expectations. As was discussed in the several workshops, the Federal Highways Administration only allows projects to advance to a 30% design before submitting the environmental assessment for consideration of a finding of no significant impact, which means that the alternative being presented is the least impactful, and that there were no other reasonable options to avoid impacts that were included in the proposed project. So the municipal consent allows for submission of the environmental assessment to federal highways for their review and determination of that finding. Pending a favorable outcome with federal highways, Beaufort County is a project sponsor, can work with SCDOT, who is managing the project on their behalf, to advance beyond that 30% design. It'll take approximately 1 year, according to the county, to go from 30% design to 60% design. And then another 12 to 18 months to go from 60% design to completion. And so we're still a couple, two and a half years or so out from having a completely designed project, which then could go through permitting, go through the review process, and then be ready to bid for a contractor. Once that process is complete and a contractor is selected, the anticipated timeline for construction is between 3 and 3.5 years. So again, based on the latest projection that I've got from my counterpart at Beaufort County, would have a project completion the end of 2030. So we're still a little ways out, but as you know, we've been working on this project for around 7 years, and so if you look at it that way, we're more than halfway done. Again, our goal, our charge here at the town is to make sure that the expectations that were set by town council are being met and included in the design and consideration of this project moves forward. I hope to have more information as the county schedules the memorandum of agreement with their county council or county council committee here in July, and expect a time frame very soon on that. That's really the update, what the action from town council allows us to do, Bill. And so I think maybe it would be good if I could answer some questions that you may have from other callers that may be on the line that have interest in the project.
All right, Shawn, thank you for that. And hearing you state that it's almost halfway complete, that's optimistic. I like that.
I'm trying to take that approach, Bill, with this going forward.
There you go. We have our first question is from Roger, and Roger is asking if the project will include a new light at Windmill Harbor, or will it remain the same? And then also my second part of that, will the timing be taken over by the town in between, or just give us an update on that?
Yeah, excellent question. So as you know, Beaufort County installed a signal at Windmill Harbor several months ago. That signal is being managed by Beaufort County. We have submitted a request to take that into the town signal program and upfit it with the adaptive signal technology that all of our other 25 signals on the island have. And so we expect to take that into our program here relatively soon. That signal will remain as part of the project. It will be upgraded with mast arms, so it'll look a lot better than just the span wire that exists there today. But it would be part of the overall system and have the same technology that our other signals have today.
All right. Our next question is coming from Terry, and Terry is asking if the current bridge is safe as we wait for construction to be completed.
Well, as many know, the state assessment back in 2015 identified this as what was placed on the structurally deficient bridge. There's been no load restrictions from the state, and it will be safe, or SCDOT will take any action if they thought otherwise. But in the latest correspondence, if this project advances, I think on the time frame that we have been provided, then we should be okay with the current bridge until the new bridge is built.
All right, thank you, Shawn. Helen is asking if you would talk a little bit about how it will alleviate congestion in the Spanish Wells area.
Another great question. So what we have with this section of US Highway 278, or as we call it, William Hilton Parkway on Hilton Island, is that you've got 5 lanes on the mainland that merge down into 2 through the bridge. You've got 4 lanes that merge down to 3 and then into 2 in the Stony section. So you've got this hourglass shape. Specific improvements at the Spanish Wells intersection, other than the added benefit of additional lanes to move traffic through more smoothly, are at the Spanish Wells intersection. There will be 2 left turn lanes as you come off Spanish Wells Road and go westward as you're going toward the mainland. Where right now there's only 1 lane and then there's a shared right and through lane. So there'll be 2 left lanes off Spanish Wells, a through lane across the Wild Horse Road, and then 1 dedicated right turn lane, which will help the traffic movements and operations at that signal greatly.
All right, thank you for that. And Pete is asking what the estimated cost is.
The latest estimate provided again by Beaufort County and their managing partner with SCDOT are roughly $488 million.
All right. Next question is coming from Marvin, and Marvin is asking, what are the enhancements for the Stony neighborhood?
So the Stony area improvements include reduction of speed. There's reduction of 4 of the 6 lanes to minimize impact. There are safety and pedestrian and bike improvements at the intersections. Town Council in the Memorandum of Agreement requested consideration for pedestrian and bicyclist overpass to connect from the north side, south side of the across the highway or the parkway, and landscape improvements and other traffic calming and mobility and access improvements within that community to enhance quality of life.
All right, our next question, Shawn, is from Chris. And Chris is asking, will the additional lane cut into the stacking area of where Windmill Harbor turn in? And also, will the Windmill Harbor guard gate have to be moved back?
Yeah, under the design, the new bridge is built just south of the current bridges. But as it comes back onto Jenkins Island, it reestablishes the alignment very, very close to where the existing intersection alignment is at Windmill Harbor. I don't believe there's any impact to the guard gate, nor the stacking on that side as you turn in, as you go eastbound on Jenkins Island toward Windmill Harbor.
All right, sir. Next question is from Kelly, and Kelly is asking, will there be opportunities to soften the view of the bridge, architectural, structural features, or vegetation along the bikeway?
There, as part of the Memorandum of Agreement, there is consideration and town involvement in design elements as the bridge is designed beyond the current alignment and the 30%. Along the bike and pedestrian pathway that's on the southern side of the bridge, there was recommendations for articulation of the outside barrier, that it not just be a Jersey barrier, and then also some aesthetic improvements that would enhance that bike and pedestrian experience. There really is no landscaping component identified in the bridge with irrigation and other complications at that point. But those are items that, as the project moves from 30 to 60 to 100% design, could be considered in partnership with the county and the state.
All right. Scott is asking, if the project is only half funded, where will the rest of the money come from?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I hate to always defer to the county, but they're the sponsor. So about 300 million has been identified and allocated. At our town council meeting, Senator Tom Davis said he would work with our legislative delegation to find the funding to make the project whole from a funding standpoint. I know Beaufort County council has approved a referendum for consideration this November on the ballot. And a portion of that referendum, I believe, is funding for some supplemental funding for this project. But this is a U.S. state highway, so there'll be pursuit of funding from the state, from locally here at the county, through the state, and then through the Federal Highway Administration as well.
Glenn is asking, Shawn, if you can give a description of what the bridge and corridor will look like.
Well, the best thing I can do is to say, visit the town's website. We developed a video. It's about 6 minutes long. It shows the existing road corridor, as well as the project as defined by town council. What the experience could or would be if the project is implemented, or when the project is implemented according to the expectations that were sent out in that memorandum of agreement. Basically the 4 bridges are replaced with 1 new bridge on the southern side of where the bridges currently exist within the power line and right of way. It'll be 6 lanes total, 3 lanes in each direction with emergency lanes. It'll be 3 lanes on the mainland through the Squire Pope intersection, connecting to where it's already 3 lanes in each direction. There'll be landscape enhancements through that. There'll be bike and ped facilities that are located along that corridor. And so, yeah, I would recommend visiting our website and looking at that video to really get an understanding of what to expect when this project is live here in a few years.
Okay, and also for our listeners, we'll be putting a link to that video in our chat box today, so you'll be able to link directly on that and watch it later on. Another question is coming from Sam, and Sam is asking if there's a possibility the existing bridge can be turned into a linear park, or will it be torn down?
Yeah, so that's an idea that circulated throughout the last 6 or 7 years with this project. But as part of the environmental assessment, the removal of the existing bridge is part of the reduction of environmental impact. And so having the bike and ped facility, a 12-foot wide facility on the southern side of the new bridge would provide that same linear experience. But the old bridges will be removed. The town or the county, according to the SCDOT, could take those over, but with the condition, I think they'd be more of a liability long-term, and the maintenance and operation costs would be significant, and therefore it's probably best for those old bridges to be demolished.
All right, Tanya is asking, what's a Jersey barrier that you referenced?
So if you were to drive across the bridge today, or the Cross Island Bridge, it's the concrete structure that's in the median or along the edges that provides protection for motoring public to not cross into oncoming traffic or to go off the edge of the bridge. So if you were to veer towards the center of the bridges or the outside, they would stop you from peril either into oncoming traffic or off the edge of the bridge.
Shawn, the questions continue to come in. We'll just take a couple more of those. And the next one is coming in from Matt, and Matt is asking that how will construction impact hurricane evacuation?
So during construction, the existing bridges will be operational. So evacuation during construction would remain the same as it has in previous years. The only interruption of traffic will be as the bridges are completed. There'll be a period of transition to move the traffic onto the new bridges, and then there'll be the demolition of the old bridges after that. But it's the construction goal to maintain 2 lanes in each direction at all times during the project, with very minor interruptions toward the end of the project. So no impact to emergency evacuation with this project.
right. Marty is asking if it's known yet how, if it's known about what the impact will be to the entrance of Pinckney and the DeFusky area ferry access area.
So again, really, it's represented really well on the video, but this new bridge will eliminate the at-grade crossing on Pinckney Island, and as all of us drive through there, we know how nerve-wracking it can be when there's a vehicle with a boat or something trying to pull out and make a left turn out of there. So the new bridge will fly over Pinckney Island. There will be the ability to turn off the bridges on ramps, and all access to Pinckney Island would be under the bridge. The current pier and boat launch for where the DeFusky embarkation is today, that would remain, and the boat ramp would be moved from the southern side to the northern side, where the current bridge is today, to help separate those uses. But it'd be a much safer experience on Pinckney Island. It was a program goal of Fish and Wildlife to eliminate that at-grade intersection, and so that will be done. And the activities that are on Pinckney Island would still be able to remain. Again, separating the boat ramp from the pier and ferry launch.
Next question is coming from Stephen, and Stephen's asking how the new bridge will impact accidents and getting people out of traffic with emergency vehicles.
Yeah, that's another great question. As you know, as the bridges are designed today, they have two 12-foot lanes, and they have very narrow shoulders, 6 feet on the outside, 4 feet on the inside. The new bridge will have 3 lanes, 12 feet wide each, but on the outside it'll have a 10-foot shoulder, which will allow for several things. One, there's debris that accumulates now and again on bridges, and so there's an opportunity to make sure that debris is not in the travelway, but also allows for during an emergency vehicles to utilize that wide shoulder on the outside to access accidents or to make some transport if needed. And that's certainly key during peak hour traffic, is to have that ability for emergency vehicles to have that access.
Shawn, I feel like we played a round of rapid fire this morning, and we appreciate you being with us and your answers and hard work and diligence on the project. And we'll look forward, if you're in agreement, to additional updates along the way.
Yes, sir. My pleasure. Only a few more years to go. So let's talk again pretty soon.
There you go. All right, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being with us.
Thank you, Bill.
All right. So we know that transportation and infrastructure and workforce are important to all of us, and finding the solutions for our workforce challenge remains a top priority for your chamber. And we've successfully recently launched our Lowcountry Jobs Now website, and chamber members can post positions on that site at no charge, and avoiding the headaches and costs of other sites that are out there. It's also a place where we're partnering with our community with information on apprenticeships and helping military veterans who are interested in re-entering the workforce. We're also reminding employers of the wealth and talent in our region with our encore workforce of retirees that we have. And here to talk about how employers can benefit from trained employees via the apprenticeships is Mary Lee Carns. And Mary Lee does a great job chairing our Chamber's Bluffton Regional Business Council and is the Vice President for Advancement and Workforce Development for the Technical College of the Lowcountry. Mary Lee, we know you're out of the state today, but we appreciate you tuning in and being with us and talking a little bit about the apprenticeships.
Well, actually, Bill, thanks for having me, and thank you for the chamber for empowering this conversation. I did get back last night. I was caught in the Houston hurricane. Houston's still recovering, but I fortunately made it out 48 hours after what I had planned to. But today we're talking about something that is unique to the South Carolina Technical College system and to the Technical College of the Lowcountry, and that is Apprenticeship South Carolina, and the Arthur E. Brown Regional Workforce Training Center. And let's start with talking about Apprenticeship South Carolina and really what, kind of what that is. And particularly how it differs from internships, because we've discovered as we're kind of putting this message out there, there is some confusion between the two. One of the most important distinctions is apprenticeship is employer driven. This is a program that for employers to uptrain their current workforce. This is for your workers right now. What it does for an employer, the employer works with the South Carolina Technical College system, who's working with the Department of Labor. That employer is defining what are the skills he or she needs in his business. And then together, we're laying out a training plan for that employee or that employee group. And so the distinction between internship and apprenticeship, internships are not for your current employees. Internships are often for that, usually a student, a high school student, a college student who's in career exploration. But apprenticeship is for that employee that you have. Apprenticeship is when you're adding value to the investment you've already made, and it's your biggest investment. And that is your current team. An apprenticeship program usually lasts anywhere from 1 to 4 years. And the South Carolina Technical College system, the apprenticeship folks in our area would be the Technical College, the Lowcountry, and the employer work together for that entire time to make sure that together we're designing a program that adds value to your business. Some of the good outcomes of this is retention. We're all, workforce is a big issue. We're all looking for workers. The Technical College of the Lowcountry, we have trouble, finding those faculty members and those other important team members. So we're all sharing the same circumstance. But this helps all of us with our current workers to expand their capabilities. Throughout this process, stepping back just a second, often when we think of apprenticeship, what we default to in our thinking is the trades, electrical, plumbing, welding, things like that. Not to exclude those are very much involved with and available too. But what Apprenticeship South Carolina has done is expand that to non-traditional industries. Industries like healthcare, and that is one of the largest growing segments of the apprenticeship program right now. Hospitality, culinary, logistics and supply, accounting. There is not a profession or job sector out there that is not applicable to the to apprenticeship and cannot be involved in Apprenticeship Carolina. As this goes on, so what the things that employers benefit from this, there is a tax credit for businesses who participate in the apprenticeship program for every apprentice that they have in the program. There's no other cost to the employer. The cost of tuition. So the apprentice usually will come to the Technical College of the Lowcountry in some training that has been defined by us all, again, employer-led. The cost of that training does not fall to the employer. That is covered. This is all funded by the Federal Department of Labor that comes into the South Carolina Technical College system. As the apprenticeship program goes on, there is an expectation that there's a scalable wage attached, that as your team member devotes his or her time into increasing their capacity and their productivity, that the employer is kind of recognizing that as we go on. This is something that with the chamber and through the college, we're really hoping to get this message out to our business community. It does not, small business, large business, and of course, as everyone knows, we're a community of, we're an entrepreneurial community of small businesses. Businesses not by the Department of Labor standard of under 500, small businesses and are under 20 people and under 10. Though you're not excluded from apprenticeship, this is very much designed to address the needs of small business, to address the needs of you, the employer. So I think of it as the apprenticeship as, it only stands as a three-legged stool, and this is the only way that it can work. So this three-legged stool is Apprenticeship South Carolina, which is a division of the South Carolina Technical College system. It's the employer, and it's the Technical College of the Lowcountry. And together, in partnership with employer-led, we work with that employer to define that apprenticeship program and make sure it's successful during the 1 to 4 years that it may be going on. But I want to reiterate that a small business, if you're 2, 3, 4, 5, this is applicable to you. And we look forward, and I speak on behalf of the South Carolina Technical College system, as well as the Technical College of the Lowcountry, we look forward to working with you in order to make your business stronger through the apprenticeship program. And I'm about to segue into, and because there's a nice, there is a segue between the apprenticeship and the Arthur E. Brown Regional Workforce Training Center. But Bill, I wonder if I should pause to see if there's any questions about apprenticeship at this point.
Sure, thank you. And we do, Ronald is asking just for further clarification regarding, I think you had mentioned tax credits that are funded by the Federal Department of Labor. And then the piece of his question was about what the compensation is from the employer to the apprentice.
So let's start with the tax credit. It's a South Carolina state tax credit, and it's $1,000 per apprentice. As far as the scalable wage, that is really, that's going to be different for every business, and that is not in any way dictated through this program. But we do want to encourage that, we're talking about a 1 to 4 year apprenticeship, training program, upskilling your workforce. You are defining that. You're defining that period, and you're defining what that training looks like. As a business, you're not paying for that. Any tuition involved in that is being funded from federal flow through the South Carolina Technical College system. But because your employee is kind of doing a little bit extra to take on that training component, showing his or her commitment to your business, what we do think, what the apprentice program does strongly encourage, is that over the course of this time, there is a scalable wage. But again, that's not defined by the apprenticeship program. Also, that is defined by you, the business owner, and you, the employer.
All right, Mary Lee, thank you for that. And then Drew is asking if it's too early or if you've gotten any feedback yet from businesses who are participating in the program.
We have there's only been a handful of businesses in our area that are currently participating, and for the most part, those are in the healthcare. And most recently, the chamber hosted a discussion on apprenticeship, and we had a woman there from an assisted living, and they're putting certified nursing assistants or their teams through a certified nursing assistant program. And she's kind of become our advocate for the program. She has said that she has found it that the team, the apprenticeship team, and the Technical College of Lowcountry team are easy to work with and do put their needs first, and also delivery of training in a way that does not take people off the job, keeps people on the job, They're earning and learning all at the same time. Another apprentice has been in culinary, and that has been successful. I think it was the Weston Bill who did that, and we've gotten good feedback from there. I think our biggest challenge with apprenticeship is it's educating individuals that this is not a big business thing. This is not a Boeing or a BMW. This is you. This is available to you. You don't need 500 employees. You don't need 50. You need 2. And we work, it's employer driven. And I can't really say that enough, because I want you to know that this is, you define it. We work with you, but you define it, because you're the only one that knows what your business needs. So I end that there for the next question.
All right, Mary Lee, one more question, and then we can transition to the Arthur E. Brown Workforce Training Center. This last question here is from Jenny, and Jenny is asking, who should a business contact if they're interested in the apprenticeship program?
You actually have 3 contacts, and I will make sure that the chamber knows the contacts and get them out to you. But I would tell you now, you can always contact me. So back to this 3-legged stool, that gives you 3 people to contact: the college, Apprenticeship Carolina, the office, office itself, or I guess those, those 2. But Jenny, you can always contact me, and Bill, Haley, if we can get my contact information out, I welcome that. I don't put the program together. It's within my umbrella, but I know exactly who to put you with, and I don't want you to get caught up in making numerous phone calls. So one call to me gets you where you need to go.
We like that, Mary Lee. And Haley will post that in the chat box. Let's talk a little bit about the Workforce Training Center for a minute before we go.
Good. I just quickly, but there's, this apprenticeship goes right into the Regional Workforce Training Center. And what the Regional Workforce Training Center is going to do is, it again, address workforce development. And now we're talking new workers as well as current workers. New workers being our high school students, new workers being particularly people we want to come into our community to help fill our workforce pipeline. And just to recap that, the Regional Workforce Training Center should open at end of Q4 2027. It's fully funded. It's in design. It's going to give us capacity for 850 new students and about 6 new programs, which includes robotics, supply chain logistics. We're going to be expanding the accounting program. Going to expand computer technologies, and we're going to be expanding the the health sciences. But something I want you all to know, I want the community to know, Beaufort County School District and the Technical College of the Lowcountry has partnered with what is called now, and it starts this fall, the TCL TIDES program. TIDES, by the way, is the new Technical College of the Lowcountry mascot. The TIDES program, what's going to happen on our New River campus, and that's where the Arthur E. Brown Regional Workforce Training Center is going to be, is starting in the 9th grade, qualified 9th graders from the Beaufort County School District will start their high school and college at our New River campus. They will be there. They're going to have their own homeroom, and they will be taking high school and college credit all at the same time. At the same time, the Arthur E. Brown Regional Workforce Training Center is going to, start coming out of the ground, and those students are going to be able to go right across the street into the Arthur E. Brown Regional Workforce Training Center and train further for jobs that are right here, right now, and emerging in our community. For your workers right now, that Arthur E. Brown Regional Workforce Training Center is going to give more capacity, is going to empower that apprenticeship program even more. And on behalf of the college, we appreciate all the community support that you show the college, and the community support that has helped launch the Arthur E. Brown Regional Workforce Training Center.
Mary Lee, thank you for that update. We're thankful that you got home safely, and our thoughts and prayers certainly go out with those in the greater Houston area that have suffered so much from the hurricane.
Thank you, Bill.
We'll chat with you again soon and look forward to hearing more about the Regional Workforce Training Centers. Great things ahead.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks so much. My thanks to the Chamber for all you do.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, we'll move on now to our final guest, and really an individual that needs no introduction, but his life story is a new documentary on Apple TV, trending in the #1 spot. How about that? He's been making memories and entertaining families in Harbor Town for over 47 years now, I think it is. And we all know that Jim Nance just does a terrific job on his opening of the RBC Heritage and what he has to say that. And as Jim always does, he does great openings. And I thought it would be wonderful for us to hear what Jim has to say in the opening and about Gregg Russell and his new Apple show.
You look around Harbor Town and you think, all right, Candy Stripe Lighthouse, all these great golf courses, beautifully constructed harbor. But what really gives it its soul is Gregg Russell.
Hey guys, how you doing? Oh, come on, you're on vacation. How you doing? I was just trying to make a living for a couple of weeks, and it turned into a lifetime. Does anyone know who Gregg Russell really is?
He's our friend Gregg Russell!
You know him? Looks like he's been drinking today, doesn't he? I have to be out here 7 hours every week. Raise your hand if your parents are with. And am here with 41 family members.
I mean, he's iconic. That to me seems bigger than a one-hit wonder.
I guarantee you he's going to be in a frat at the University of Georgia one day. This may be one of those that puts me in therapy again.
All of these people come from all over the world, and
One
we're
night,
hooked.
a kid held up a sign and said, "My mom sang with you in 1985. Please pick me while you're still alive. I promise to do my best to drive my parents crazy."
Sometimes I can act a little bratty.
We may never know how far Gregg Russell has been able to reach and touch lives with his music and what he does on that stage.
It's a real pleasure to welcome Gregg Russell to Power Hour this morning. Gregg, thanks for joining us, and how about that? Good morning, Gregg.
Are you there?
Yeah, there we go. We're connected.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey,
How are
brother,
you?
I'm as surprised as anybody that the reaction the documentary has garnered by these young filmmakers who approached me several years ago about doing this, and they came down here as little children on vacation, and now they're very successful young men in the film business, and they asked me about doing this, and I just flat turned them down and said no, I didn't want to do it. And they came back the following year, and we went through the same exercise. And I said, I feel like the cop on the street here. There's nothing to see. Move along, move along. But they were very persistent and had a lot of passion for telling this story. And as it turns out, they were right in projecting that people all over the country that have been coming here for so long and have such an affinity for all things Hilton Head would at some point tune in and watch. And of course, as you said, Bill, it's made it the #1 documentary in the country right now.
Gregg, it's a fabulous story, and I loved watching it. What are some of the things that during the filming and making it, the creative piece of it, that stand out to you that were as memorable along the years?
Well, what I really wanted everyone to know was that I had really literally nothing to do with this other than when they told me to show up and sit for an interview, just like we interviewed you, Bill, and a lot of other folks. These guys had control of their project. I never wanted it known as a vanity piece that I created for myself. But I sent them boxes of old photos and videos and historical stuff that we kind of collected over the years. And their idea of placing the narrative in the lap of my friend Jim Nance, telling the story from the perspective of the old Liberty Oak that Charles Fraser saved all those years ago, I thought was very, very creative and lends it something that creatively really expands the idea. It's about me standing under the tree, but it's about so much more.
Greg, talk a little bit about how your story was, how you met Charles Fraser and the early times on the island, where you were living. And I just think that's so fascinating that others, if they haven't heard it, would love to hear it.
Yeah, well, I was doing some grad school work down in Florida and working at Disney World from time to time to earn some extra money. And I was getting ready to finish up school and really didn't have anywhere to go. And I didn't have a job lined up. And an agent from Atlanta, Georgia walked up to me and said, I have a 2-week job on a place called Hilton Head Island. Would you like the job? And of course I said yes. And I came here and Sea Pines at that point wasn't providing housing for me or some of the other entertainers that were around. And so I actually lived in my van for a while, parked behind the old red and white there at Coligny. And one night, Charles Fraser during the summer walked by after I was packing up my equipment, and he said he was taking some insurance executives out on his sailboat, the Compass Rose, for a midnight sail. Would I like to join them? So, of course, I went out sailing and we came in, and I kind of stayed behind for a minute to help clean up the boat. And he said, sit down. I want to talk to you. And I thought, oh, great. This is how they fire you. They take you out sailing and then they fire you. And he asked me, he said, where are you living? And I said, well, I'm living in my van down at Coligny. And he said, well, where would you like to live? Well, we were sitting right there on his boat in Harbor Town, and I jokingly pointed at the condos up above the shops there. I said, well, I'd like to live up there. Well, the next Friday when I went in to pick up my pretty meager paycheck, there was a handwritten note from Charles with a key scotch taped to it. And he said what I was doing with children and grandmothers and everybody in between in Harbor Town was exactly what he wanted Harbor Town to feel like at night. And he said, here's a key to one of those condos. He said, you can live up there rent free now for as long as you want. And so for the next, I guess, 4 years or so, I lived up there rent free and walked to work at night, and then got established in Colorado ski resorts and going back to Disney and working all over the country. And 4 years later, invited Charles to lunch and gave him his key back and said, I think I can afford my own spot now. If you'd like to give this to somebody else that really needs a start out in life, you've changed my life. Maybe you can change someone else's. So Charles and I became very, very close friends. As you probably know, I spoke and sang at his funeral, and not many days go by that I don't think of him.
That's such a heartwarming and great story. And not only did you change Charles's life, you've changed the lives of many, and you've also changed the life of what Harbor Town, who it was, and what it has become. So that's
thank you.
That's pretty special. And we know we all live in a very, very special place. What do you enjoy the most, Greg, about interacting with our visitors who are down to see you night after night?
Well, I'm a very regimented guy. I'm in my 47th summer doing this. And I get in the shower at the same time every night. I get in my car to go to Harbor Town. And over the last 10 years or so, I found I had to move my own internal clock up about a half an hour. Because when I do get to Harbor Town, my buddy Randy, who takes care of me and all the equipment and everything else, he and I kind of carve out a little space out in front of the tree, and people want to come by and share their stories of generations of their family members who have come down, and they'll show me a picture of two little kids standing there talking to me, and now they're 6 feet tall and bringing their own kids. And so that's been the most rewarding part for me. Traditions are very hard to build, as you know, with our Heritage Golf Tournament, with the Cannon and the Tartan and Jim Nance and the Lighthouse and all those beautiful scenes. That takes time and energy and consistency to build, to connect with people. And I think over all this time, that's been the secret for me. And the nice part, even in the off season, I'll tell Lindy, I'm going to the grocery store. I'll be back in 15 minutes. And invariably it's half an hour, 45 minutes, because you run into people, visitors and residents alike. And, you know, everybody just wants to talk. It's just a wonderful small town atmosphere. And I know we get busy in the summer, but the rest of the year, you know, we're a fairly sleepy little place. And it's been a wonderful place to work, live, raise children, and have you can have an impact if you want to in a small town like this. So those have been the best parts for me.
All right, Gregg, as we get ready to wrap things up here in just a minute, what's the one question you get asked the most?
I guess the question I get most is, when are you going to quit? When are you going to retire? I mean, Lindy asks me almost weekly. You know, we're in our 47th year. She and I both have had a couple of little health issues over the last couple of years. And the Sea Pines folks have been just incredibly off the charts wonderful to me. So we kind of have an agreement that as long as they want me to be there, and as long as the people keep showing up, and we have bigger crowds now than we've ever had, and as long as I feel healthy and look forward to going down there at night, I would like to make 50 years, which would give us another few summers, God willing, if, you know, we stay healthy and all things work well together. But it has been a 2-week job that has turned into a lifetime. And I have received so much more than I have given out. And I'm so grateful for all the relationships around the country that have supported me and continue to show up and give me a lot of love every night.
Gregg, a few years ago, we had the Cheers to 50 Years for the RBC Heritage. And just a couple more years, we can have the Cheers to 50 Years for Gregg Russell, and another celebration as well. That you've got it in you. You can do it. You've got gas in the tank. I know you.
Well, I feel like I can. And, you know, Lindy and I are looking forward to visiting with our girls more and traveling more, and yet calling this home for now until forever.
I'd be remiss if I didn't also give a shout out to Lindy and you for Hilton Head Heroes, and the tremendous job through the years and what you've meant to so many families, and that organization under your all's leadership and fundraising has done. So thank you for that piece.
Well, it's our pleasure. Again, this summer, we're going to have literally hundreds of chemo kids and transplant kids going to summer camps in Florida and Georgia and North Carolina and other places, all because of the generosity of the people who have supported our work with Hilton Head Heroes.
Gregg, as we close today, we're going to put a picture on the screen of a teammate that I have the great fondness of working with. And there she is 20 years ago. She's the smaller one there, and her two older sisters. And I'm just letting you know she's thrilled to have you on today, and she and her family, one of those year after year, came back to see Gregg Russell at Harbor Town. And so shout out to Shannon and shout out to you, and hopefully that inspires you for many more years.
That is so sweet. Thank you for sharing that. And tell them to tune into the Apple TV thing. I think it presents Sea Pines and Harbor Town and Hilton Head in a light that reflects what an incredible, extraordinary place this is.
Gregg, we'll get that up in our chat box as well as and we'll continue getting that out. #1 documentary, Apple. That's pretty great, my friend. Congratulations.
I give the guys all the credit. I had nothing to do with it. Thank you, Bill.
Hey, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure.
Gregg Russell. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think there's anything we can do after that. I just, it was such an honor having Gregg with us, and I have goosebumps, and all I'm going to say is have a great rest of your day, and let's go watch Apple TV and keep Gregg trending at #1. Have a great day.